Oh my gosh, that is not even funny anymore.
The universe has jokes today, I swear.
Oh, it's all jokes. Now I can't even find you. Oh,
Maybe I should smudge my laptop this morning. I'll do that now.
Oh yeah, I think I'm gonna have to do something fully on my poor computer. This is my 1950s laptop. I refuse to give it up.
You can see that. Hello, everyone. Sorry, we're late. We're having some technical difficulties.
Oh my goodness.
That was hilarious, actually.
Oh.
So it was really funny because I couldn't hear Tracy at all, and we were trying to figure out what was wrong with the audio. And then I could finally hear Tracy, but she couldn't hear me. So we swapped difficulties for some reason. I don't know what is going on with technology the last 24 hours, but it's been really weird.
Oh, wow. Oh, and I'm on I joke around and call it my 1950s laptop. I think I've had it for 10 years. I refuse to give it up because it does everything I need to do. So I had to pull out the old Betty and try to figure this out. Yeah, I'll take some of that smudge too. Thank you.
Thank you. Technology has been very glitchy the last few days, so I don't think it's us. It might just be glitches in the matrix, so to speak.
Well, I have to say that I had a lot of fun. Like most people with technical difficulties get frustrated or annoyed, and we laughed enough that I cried, which I should probably check my makeup.
I know. You just gotta laugh at problems sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, I'm telling you, it raises the vibration of the space. It's fine.
For sure.
Well, blame the solar flares. Exactly, Bradley.
I gotta tell you the best part. I'm using my mouse to try to look for something, but it's on the other computer. I'm like, oh great, now my mouse doesn't work.
We had to switch to our phone because the laptop wouldn't work. The laptop's like, no, I'm taking the day off.
Oh my goodness. Good morning, everyone.
Oh, it's good to see everybody. Wow. I needed that laugh. That's good. Sorry we're late. We're just sitting here shaking our electronics.
we started on time. It just didn't include any volume. Yeah.
But no. Like, no, you're going to spend the next 20 minutes fucking around with your tech shit.
I'd be curious to know if that was like 17 or 21 minutes or something like that, because that stuff keeps 17 and 21 just keeps showing up for me all week. That would have been fun.
Yeah. First comment came in at 18. So yeah.
Oh yeah. we're actually not going to talk at all today, guys. We're just going to sit here and laugh at each other, with each other, as each other.
Oh, I love it. We're already getting into the serious questions. Matt's not even giving us a warm-up. He's like, tell us immediately what's going to happen.
Oh, Matt. Well, I think the lesson that Laura and I learned today is we have to have patience, find humor in it, and everything will work out exactly how it's supposed to.
Amen.
That might be our lesson today.
No, wow. I love that. That's exactly the whole attitude that I am imbuing right now, and everything is it will be if it's meant to be, you know. Yeah, we are taking things from moment to moment, because that's all you can really do when things are getting crazy and weird.
Yeah. And crazy and weird just seems to be the common denominator. I'll tell you guys something funny. I'm teaching a 5-month course right now. It's a Healed Healers Reiki certification. And when I did the videos, I normally do the videos, and for the timestamps, I tell my team what I don't want in it. And so they delete out what I don't want. And for some unknown reason, I decided to put what I do want in it. And so they cut the film and apparently talked amongst each other like, this is weird, but if that's what she wants. So all of the things I didn't want were in the video. And so this video
always, but you know what's funny? That's the law of attraction for you. You know what they say? If you say, I don't want something, the universe is like, oh, want something? That's what I heard.
Yeah.
She wanted that.
So watching this video, it's like, I am possessed by what is this video? Oh my God, what is happening here? And at first we couldn't even figure out, like, how did this go wrong? And then as we were trying to edit to fix it, I was like, oh, that's all the don't put that in there takes. So it's been that day. It's just, okay, I'm going to give you exactly the opposite of what you were expecting. One of my favorite sayings or a key code that I like to use is called ALMA, AL''MA. And it means you are seen, you are loved, you are supported. And everything that has happened, I'm not heard. You couldn't hear me.
Yeah.
This computer isn't supporting me. And so I'm going to take that as a gift that I need to slow down today. I need to ground into the present moment. I need to see myself. I need to hear myself. And I need to support myself.
Easier said than done. Yes. Especially those of us that are feeling like we're running around like a headless chicken the last week or two, getting ready for whatever we think may occur in the next few days, because there's a lot of uncertainty right now.
Yeah.
And when there is uncertainty, you got to be careful about manifesting what you want to manifest, manifesting the things you don't want to manifest, because the law of attraction is quite a big deal when it comes to the things that we attract into our lives, the things that we manifest for ourselves. And I think that many of us have been in a fear-based mindset for far too long.
Agreed.
And it's hard to change that mindset when everything seems so uncertain and when there's not much stability around to cling to, so to speak.
Yeah, and I think that's a really important lesson that we all needed. There isn't anyone on this planet that didn't need the lesson that the uncertainty outside of us doesn't have to become uncertainty within us. And so our opportunity right now is to find the ways that we can ground into the present, that we can connect to divine intelligence, that we can truly trust our intuition. And we don't make one of the biggest mistakes that I've heard from a lot of people in the last 2 weeks. I'll just fake it until I make it.
Oh, that's what I use all the time. I need to stop saying that.
Yeah, but we can't do that because fake says not true. And not true then connects to the collective energy. The collective energy gets bigger and we become that. And so instead of fake it till I make it, let's learn to become that. I know what I want to be, do, and have, and I'm learning to become that because then that's true. And then
like I'm always practicing. You know what I mean? Like I'm always, that's why. It's like we're always kind of working our way up to the next thing. And it feels like it's my mother used to say, like, I have like that butterflyism where I'm fluttering constantly without grounding myself.
Yeah.
And the chaos lately hasn't been helping that either, to be honest. Just always bouncing around.
Fair. And grounding is key. You know, most of us will even say, talk about it, think about it, but grounding is essential. When our body is in the present moment, which it has to be because it lives in this timeline, but our soul is stuck in the past or too far into the future, our mind or our ego is, you know, controlled and compelled by filters that aren't even ours, then there has to be some sort of disconnection. Spiritual disconnection is uninspired, self-sabotaging, incapable of asking for help, anger, which becomes depression, and worry, which becomes anxiety. So if you're experiencing any of those things, one of the challenges is that your soul and ego aren't within your body, and you have to anchor back into the present moment.
Yeah. Well, social media doesn't help. I mean, many people are constantly bombarded with negative things, topics, fear porn, as they call it, and a lot of things are also in relation to clickbait too. A lot of it is sensationalism to get people upset, because when they're upset, they start commenting. When they start commenting, that people more see the posts, and it generates more traffic. So what we have is this promotion of stuff that isn't even proven true. It's just there for drawing up panic in many ways.
Sensationalism.
Yeah. Big time.
Yeah.
And it runs everything. It runs the media. It runs the television that people are getting their entertainment from. It runs politics.
Yeah.
Everybody has opinions about things. Everybody has something that they want to do or change about the world. And yet we don't even really understand what's happening right now. There's just so much that's complicated.
Yeah. Well, take that a step further. It becomes your own programming. Your own brain and your own body start to look for those evidence of those things. Well, if you look for evidence, you're going to find it. There's an old saying that if you believe it's true, then it will be for you.
What
if
you
you
focus
don't,
on, you attract.
it isn't. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
sure.
this reminds me of what my own soul guides told me, and I'll never forget this. This was probably one of the most profound things they told me during my first astral projection experience, because I spent 10 years talking about a new world order and saying things like, I don't want a new world order. They're like, well, if you don't want one, why are you talking about it?
Right. Wow. Right.
And and it didn't sink in right away. I was like, well, because I don't want it, because that's how you know what I mean? Like, that's how I'm going to make it not happen. And they're like, no, that's the opposite. That's not the way it works.
Yeah.
Because I had it in my head that if I'm going to educate the world, if I'm just going to talk about it until the cows come home, eventually I'm going to influence change by talking about it. But I've realized it was the opposite, where I was putting myself into those timelines. And yeah, it's like if you are expecting the world to go up in flames, you're going to put yourself into a timeline where the world goes up in flames.
We speak our world into creation.
It's just really quick. There's this one client a couple of days ago that I did a clearing on, and her advice at the end was that the soul guide said she expects so many bad things to happen. She wants to know why bad things keep happening, but she expects them to happen. So it's like if you expect your house to be robbed, and you're constantly thinking that somebody is going to come in and rob you, you're bringing that into your reality. You're literally going to put yourself into a reality where that occurs, because you keep thinking about it. So it's frustrating when so many people are like, I want to change the world. I want to do this differently, but they're only focusing on the negative things in the world. They're only focusing on the problem rather than the solution.
In mysticism, they teach us at the very beginning to stop, capital bolded, underlined, stop asking why, because why brings the pain, the suffering, the negativity into a spotlight. And then when you ask why, so why, why does this keep happening? Or why are negative things always happening to me? What you're literally asking the universe is to show you why it's happening, to figure it out. And so all of these negative things have to happen in order for you to be able to figure it out. And so anytime we ask why, which is also the reason that why is the base of self-pity, why me, why not me, is because it is a low vibration that brings to you the negative polarity so that you can do your own work honestly and move into a higher frequency and vibration. But if people don't know that the purpose of the question why is to receive the bad things, to sort them out and put the puzzle pieces together, and they never figure that out, then you're just mounding on top of yourself more of this low frequency and vibration. So we want to ask what? What does this mean? What do I need to know? What is this all about? Yeah, our words create our reality.
So there's a very fine line. How do you tell the difference between manifestation and premonition?
Well,
did I manifest it, or did I just have or did I just know it was going to happen? Or is it both?
there's a good answer right there. It could be both, but with a premonition, there's a force of creation. You recognize something before it happens. Premonition would be, like reading a book. When you read a book, you can determine what could happen, and then you're paying attention to see if it did happen. But you didn't make it happen because you're reading the book. But when we manifest, we're taking the appropriate steps with conscious awareness to use our words to create our highest frequency and vibration, or we're in unconscious incompetence. We don't know that we don't know. So we create what we don't want.
See, this is where that whole broken magic wand thing comes into effect, where you don't realize that you're manifesting the things you don't want because you're putting energy into it. Like, for example, like, oh, I just know that I'm going to get in trouble with my boss. I just know that he's going to catch me out of that thing and that little mistake I made, and I just know I'm going to get in trouble for it. So then your boss does find out and you get in trouble and you say, oh, I knew it. I called it.
But let's go back to your original question. Is it premonition or manifestation? If in that moment you're like, oh my God, I know that little mistake's going to get caught, and you do nothing about it, then you're manifesting. But the premonition is the awareness of, oh my gosh, I made a mistake. There's something I need to correct before someone catches me. Or before I, don't do it again. The premonition is the recognition that something needs attention. The manifestation is you created that by happening because you didn't go and fix the mistake that you knew was a mistake that you made. You took no ownership. And so, of course, you got caught.
Yes, I like that a lot. And it really does feel like when you are dealing with something really heavy, because a lot of us are dealing with very difficult things right now, and you have somebody that doesn't really meet you eye to eye on a certain situation, and you're arguing your perspective about this, and it's almost like you are at two very different realizations and understandings on that. Yeah. And that can also lead to miscommunication, which will lead to more difficulties fixing things down the road. So when it comes to the realization that we have a path ahead that splits, because this is one of the things, like my point I'm trying to get to, right, is that whenever you make a decision, there are split realities that occur where both realities will manifest.
Right. And so one is for your highest good because it's in alignment with your truth. And the other is not in your highest good because it's what was created from a consequence. And so when we know ourselves, when we know our truth, we tend to choose, we're human, we tend to choose what is in our highest good. The challenge is we've been corrupted to believe that what everybody else thinks, feels, experiences, and expects of us is way more important than what is our highest good. And so those paths, which would be cool if it just diverged into my highest good and my not highest good, splits into millions of different possibilities because we're pleasing everyone else at our own expense.
Yes. That happens a lot, actually, where people pleasing is a big thing.
Yeah, it's one of the
and not choosing our highest. Because when it comes to the future, for example, like Matt today, the very first question he asked is, what's going to happen? That is the big question, I think, on everybody's minds today is what's going to happen, even just a day or two ahead of time. People are trying to figure out what's going to occur. And even the soul guides aren't completely aware of what's going to occur because there's so many different timelines, alternate realities that we're constantly moving through.
Right. But Laura, what about this? What if we stop asking what's going to happen next or what's going to happen tomorrow and start asking, who do I want to be? How am I going to continue to create? What if whatever happens tomorrow isn't the primary force of our change, our activation, our realization, the primary force of what's going to be tomorrow is who I decide I'm going to be, how I'm going to experience my reality. I know I'm not American, so I'm not feeling as much of the chaos and the uncertainty that you guys are. But imagine if tomorrow, you know that your boss is going to be letting go 60 people and there's only 180 people. So that could be you. You deciding who you are and how you're going to handle that from a space of your highest good is maybe not going to change the outcome. You might be one of the 60 people let go, but what if that has to be your next reality in order to level up? And I'll give you guys a good example of that. I didn't use that example on purpose, but now I have it. I'm a doctor of metaphysical psychology. I work with generational trauma, depression, anxiety, acute stress, and chronic pain. I teach other energy workers to be healed healers. But that's only been my role for the last 15 years. I was an executive vice president in an alcoholic beverage company. But I lost my job.
Wow.
And I was devastated. And I, for a year, did everything I could to get that life back. And the universe just kept punching me down. And finally, I surrendered. And I spent I'm still doing it. So I've spent my whole awareness life knowing who do I want to be. And so whatever happens out there, it could be horrible in the moment. But I know who I am. I know who I want to be. And therefore, anything that happens out there, I figure out how that's going to make me a better person. Not for someone else.
Oh, I love that.
For my own self. And so how can we all do that today? Even for 5 minutes, sit in the idea that it actually doesn't matter what's happening outside of our own bioenergetic field if we love being in our own bioenergetic field. If we love our own thoughts, our own feelings, our own experiences. And I know some of you will say something to the effect of, well, I'm not there right now. Yeah, right now you're not. And you're never going to be if the first step in who do I want to be is never taken. And that's the trauma of being human. You know, I think it was Matt who said, I didn't manifest the people I've helped being hurt by psychosis before I got involved. I don't know if that's true, Matt. We all chose to come here. I believe that as spirit energy, we read the book called Matt's Timeline and said, oh, yeah. What? Oh my gosh. Yes, this is the timeline that I want to experience with the conscious awareness of being spirit having human experience. And so I would beg to differ just enough to say that we did make these choices.
You make every person whose lives you touch, you have an agreement with that person.
100%.
You had a prenatal contract to have an agreement with that person to be an influence in their life for whatever purpose that may be. Some people are the instigators.
Yeah.
Some people are the savior types that come in and help you change and, turn a new leaf, so to speak. Others are the guardian types that help look after you and make sure that nobody's going to come and mess with you when you're in your most vulnerable moments. Yeah. Everybody has a different role that they take on. Sometimes it's a nurturing role. Sometimes it's an educator role. There's just so many different scenarios that we come in, that we choose to come in with. And you could be a savior to one person and a villain to another. It doesn't make that you're, painted with the same brush for everybody.
That's right. We are all of those things.
Yeah.
Which is one of the primary reasons that I created the Human Being User Manual, because if we don't know what that divine assignment is, if we don't know how we said we were going to create our reality, which is our first divine assignment, if we don't know what that reality is supposed to look and feel like, how are we going to know if we're in it or not, which is our second divine assignment. And our third divine assignment is our navigation type, who we are empowered to work with for as, and who are not. And so in this simple process, the soul reveal reading is the beginning of it. I literally tell you what your 3 divine assignments are, so how you continue to manifest your reality. But I also tell you what your 3 fear stories are, your generational trauma, the shadow energy that comes to you and says, you're not in alignment. So I'm going to keep showing up and I'm going to annoy the shit out of you until you smarten up. And then when you're like, oh, wow, it's my second fear story. It keeps showing up and it keeps knocking me down. Well, what does my second fear story mean? Oh, I'm out of alignment with my second divine assignment. I'm not on my true path. I'm not walking and talking and creating the way I said I would as a spirit energy when I chose this experience.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, we know who we are. And that we use that as a map. Okay, I don't feel mostly awesome. Which one of my 3 fear stories is out of alignment? Oh, it's 2. Damn it, 2 again. I'm off my true path. What? And here's the shit show part of it. Many of us have actually never been on our true path. So we don't know how awesome it looks and feels to be on that path.
Well, we get this, gung-ho attitude when we're in the in-between, where we're like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And I'm going to make sure I have to this and this and this and this and this. And then you're like, yeah, I got this. Like, woohoo, let's do this. And then you get down here and you're like, what was I doing again? And you completely get distracted or sidetracked or confused about what your role is here. And a lot of people, this is why it's such a popular question when I'm doing clearings. What is my purpose for this lifetime? That's one of the most common questions that people want to know. What is my purpose for this lifetime? But meanwhile, the soul guides are like, for this lifetime, you can have a purpose for right now.
Right.
What's your purpose right now is the real question, because your purpose 10 minutes ago could have been something entirely different.
Yeah. And here's the mind blow part of that. It's one singular word that creates a frequency and vibration that keeps you moving. Your thoughts are moving, your feelings are moving, your body is moving, your experience is moving. You're not stuck. That's the purpose. If we wanted to sum it into a singular purpose for every human being, it's to know thyself. Every philosophy, every mystical society, every single religion has that one base preface. We are here to know thyself, not the world, not politics, not family and friends, not adventure and excitement, our own selves. Our own selves.
And I also would like to express, Matt's talking in the comments now about how he could have prevented an atrocity, especially when somebody's a death was the end result. But the thing is, we choose our death before we incarnate. In most cases, your death is already pre-chosen. So for us to think, oh, maybe I could have changed someone else's destiny. No, you probably couldn't have. That is their destiny. They chose that for a reason. So it is, something that a lot of us humans tend to beat ourselves up over, hindsight's 2020 kind of thing. Like, oh, I wish I could have done this. I wish I could have done that. But that isn't actually what you were supposed to do. This is part of the learning experience. Otherwise, that is what would have occurred in this timeline.
Right. And so, Matt, I want you guys, I'd love all of you guys to hear this, but I'd like you to first hear it from a bubble of love, because when it first comes out, it's going to not sound like it's coming from love, but that's because it's been corrupted. One of our greatest responsibilities of human beings is to mind our own business. If you're not called to something, it is likely not your business. So your example, Matt, you intuitively knew something was wrong. And so the opportunity for you there was the lesson of listening to your intuition. But if you intuitively knew something was wrong and you didn't do anything, what if that is exactly what you were supposed to do? You were supposed to mind your own business because that person, place, thing, scene, situation, or scenario already had lessons to learn, playbooks to organize, dates and times, because unfortunately we did choose human where space and time has purpose.
Yep.
How do you know that that person's unfortunate and untimely, from our perspective, death wasn't exactly what their novel was all about? Yeah. And then that effect on you is this: in knowing that that situation happened, how does that make you a better person? Well, not by judging and criticizing yourself, not by going into guilt and blame, not finding some sort of vengeance, but being consciously aware of how we learn. So, Matt, my question back to you would be, without criticism and judgment, as the neutral, empowered witness that you truly are, what gift did you receive from understanding, experiencing, or knowing about this scene, situation, scenario? How can that make you a better person? This is,
I think the only way that Matt just said, what if I'm messing up the cosmic plan for people? I don't think you can. You can't, then, to assume that we have control over other people's destinies.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't work that way. We choose a great deal about ourselves and about our plans. And I think that a lot of what we beat ourselves up over is ego-based stuff.
100%.
Because we want to be the knight in shining armor. We want to be the one that rushes in and saves the day. And when we are denied that, we feel like we've failed.
Because we've been trained. We've been trained to not mind our own business. Yeah. And then because of that, we don't do our own work. I'm heroic by not minding my own business, but I absolutely missed my last 3 lessons.
Think of how much good comes from bad. Like, just a random example, like Mothers Against Drunk Driving, MAD, for example. Yeah. Do we think that MAD wouldn't exist? Do you think it would exist today if those mothers hadn't gone through that tragedy? Right. If the mothers hadn't lost someone they loved very, very deeply to drunk driving, they wouldn't have had the motivation to go and start that organization that went and probably saved a great number of people through education later on. So it's almost like, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're fine. We're having weird issues with the glitches and there's a little bit of lag, so it's okay. Go ahead.
Okay, so let's take it farther. That person, let's call that person Joey. Joey, as spirit energy, wanting to have a human experience, wanting to have thoughts, feelings, and emotions, coming here to learn specific lessons, reads the book called Joey's Timeline and says, oh, Joey's going to die from a drunk driver in a car accident. Well, guess what? Joey chose in that moment his mom, Leanne. Why did he choose Leanne? Because in her timeline, she knew that she would lose a son and also change the world. Like, we don't know how all of those things get knit together, weave together. We just know our part. And here's the challenge. Too many of us have no idea what our part is. Our part is to know ourselves, to be consciously aware that Earth is a school. Is it an annoying school? Yep. But it's a school nonetheless. We are here to learn lessons. We are here to thrive. We chose a timeline. Isn't that insane enough that we chose a human body?
Oh, yeah.
we are not focused enough. We've been told we're selfish if we do our own work. We are told that in order to be a good person, we have to take care of everyone else. Imagine what kind of planet we would live on if everyone did their own work and supported others in doing their own work, but didn't think that they got to be the judge, the jury, and the hero in every plan. It would be a different planet. And that's the planet we're moving to. People doing their own work honestly.
And I love how Dolores talked about us being threads in a tapestry, and how we're all interwoven to varying degrees for a reason. And if you look at it very closely, it's almost like looking at the back of the tapestry. Everything's all a big mess, and it's all, you know what I mean? Like all the threads are, but then you turn it over and you look at the bigger picture, and and everything makes sense.
That's right.
So it's just right now, none of this is going to be making sense to a lot of people because things are messy right now.
And do you know what we can call that, Laura? Perspective. The natural law of polarity says there has to be a negative perspective and there has to be a positive perspective. So that tapestry, whoops, I'm moving, sorry.
You're fine.
My technology is like, yeah, we're not doing this anymore.
You're fine.
Imagine that. The negative perspective is the back of that tapestry. The positive perspective is the front of it. And so we need to understand that every single one of us has both of those. If you don't feel mostly awesome, then you're just not in alignment with your truth. That's all.
Yes. Being in alignment with your truth can change from moment to moment, because your truth can change from moment to moment. Now we've got even more
100%.
lag.
100%.
Okay, sorry
because what your truth. Is it better now?
I think so, yeah. I think it's catching up properly. There we go.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I'm just, like I said, I think there's about a 5-second delay. It was a 2-second delay. Fine. Now it's a 5-second one. We're having, technology is great today, I swear. Is Mercury in retrograde and nobody told us? I don't know what it is.
No, I think that it's just, well, I think a lot of it is that our message today, and I'm using the experience that we're creating, but our message today isn't a message that everybody's ready to hear. And so the collective energy is like, shut that shit down. Shut that shit down. No, you're not going to shut me up.
So for those of us who are kind of getting whiplash with the amount of changes lately, any advice?
Yeah, some simple advice is grounding, being present in the moment. If you can't experience your body, if you can't understand the messages that your body's telling you, you aren't going to understand the messages from divine. And so a lot of that is coming back to you. You know, tonight's going to be a great example. And in my Activate Your Power masterclass tonight, we're holding vigil. We're just going to do a 47-minute activation for the collective, because especially for you guys in the United States, it's a challenging time. And everyone's looking outside of themselves. So especially if you're going to watch your elections and what's going on, I want you to give yourself some time to sit in silence, to be in quiet, and just recognize that that's not happening to you. It's happening for you. And you get to decide what that for you is. And so maybe there's 3 things. You want to ground into the present moment so that your body and your spirit can connect. And you want to recognize that it's not happening to you. It's the way that you react that's going to be your reality. And so decide beforehand that no matter what happens tonight,
what was that one quote?
Are going
Life is. Oh, we keep cutting out. Technology is really difficult today, I swear. What was that one quote? Life is 10% what happens to you and 90% of how you react to it.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. And so if tonight wasn't happening, how could you make tomorrow perfect? Because tonight is happening, how can you make tomorrow your best possible tomorrow? And is that challenging? Yeah, it is. But if we don't make the effort, it's going to be impossible. We want to move to impossible, to probable, to my own perfect, whatever my perfect means for me.
Oh, beautifully said. Love that. But you got some more stuff going on the star soon, don't you? I'm realizing it's already 11 now. Time is flying today.
I do. Yeah.
Oh, is it a Reiki thing? What was that?
My two big things are, I'm doing Healed Healers Reiki certification. Nice. And tonight we're doing the master class for Activate Your Power.
Oh, how exciting.
Yeah.
There we go. We've got the soul. I've got the soul revealing. Let's see. Hold on here. I'm going to share the link for the. Oh, here we go. I think I got it. Technology is being so glitchy today. It's unbelievable.
Oh, wow. Isn't that crazy?
It is. There's the Reiki one, because Reiki is one of the best certifications you can get as a beginner in spirituality, and just trying to, get into a spiritual practice, I guess is a good way of putting it, because that's what I started with. I started with doing cards and Reiki, and that really gave me a great foundation for doing energy work. Big time.
What I love about Reiki is it focuses first on knowing your own self, of having a hands-on technique of balancing your chakras, aligning your biofields, bringing soul, ego, and the body together as one, and living some very specific precepts, 5 ways in which we live our life. So if we don't experience anger and worry, we can be in gratitude. With gratitude, we do our work honestly. When we do our work honestly, we become the energy of love and light. And so it's pretty cool. For me, Reiki means that we're channeling universal life force energy to be energy workers. And when we're called to be an energy worker, we want to make sure that we're a healed healer, that we do our work honestly first and foremost. Yeah.
And it's not easy to do. You got to take it one day at a time.
Exactly. And I think that's what we're being challenged with right now, is how do we take one day at a time. I just put in the private chat the link for the 21-day Activate Your Power. It's literally 21 days. I teach you to move into your innate biofield, creating the channels between all of the ways that your energy communicates with you. And over those 21 days, you learn how to activate from within your own unique power. When we can stand in our power, we then can look at the outside world as pieces of information, as opposed to it's happening to us, it's happening for us. And so this 21-day activation starts next Tuesday night. It's $38. It gives you full access to my online community where we have a daily check-in. So the entire 21 days of your journey, if you need support, you can check in with one of our expert educators. And then 3 times we meet live to do the activation. And then there's a 21-day step-by-step process of literally activating your own power. And so part of my mission is to make it as affordable as possible for people to know how to allow the world to be for them instead of against them.
Beautifully said. Love that. For us, by us, as they used to say.
Yeah.
What an exciting time to
Daniela's
be around. Sorry?
And Daniela says she's added to my repertoire the as. It's not happening for you. It's not happening to you. It's happening as you. And so you
Ooh, I
need to
like that.
choose who you want to be. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Tracy. I love all your wonderful insights. So you also have the soul reveal reading too. I'm going to share that link for everybody. Just a quick explanation, if you don't mind, as to what your soul readings offer.
The soul reveal reading. Thank you. The soul reveal reading is a 50-minute one-on-one session with me. It includes an online container to teach you how to use a map that is inside of your cellular memory. I call this map your human being user manual. And your soul reveal reading gives you the first part of that, your 3 divine assignment pieces, how you predetermined you were going to create your reality, what your true path is, and your navigation type. And it also shares with you the exact name of your generational trauma, the 12 generations of maternal trauma, of paternal trauma, and your womb trauma. We call these your fear stories. And so I teach you how to use them as an awareness. When you're experiencing your fear stories, whichever one it is, if it's your first fear story, it's telling you that you're not in alignment with your first divine assignment. And so not only do you know what the lesson is, but you know how to align to that lesson to experience your reality from the highest good. This container gives you educational information before your session. We do the one-on-one session. And then I teach you how to use the map. And so for the general public, it's $178. But if you're an Astara member, go in and find me in Astara and you can save $100. You can get your soul reveal reading for $78. But it's a game changer to understand exactly how your generational trauma is trying to guide you to your highest good.
The generational trauma is probably one of the most significant, considering those are the people that you chose to come in here with. You couldn't avoid the healing if you tried, because the universe is like, no, you're not going to be able to run from this one very easily. We're going to make sure that this is a challenge for you that you are going to stick to. So yeah, those family generational issues tend to be the hardest, but also the most rewarding once you have healed and moved through it. No.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh. Well, thank you so much, Tracy. When are you're coming back on Astara soon, aren't you? I believe so.
I am, yes, on the second Thursday at 8 p.m. I do a metaphysical messages session where you literally tell me what pain, annoyance, or questions that you have, and I tell you what your body's trying to tell you, or what the Akashic records are trying to tell you.
Oh, wonderful! Thank you.
Yeah,
cool.
So that's
People
the second and the fourth Thursday at 8.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I make sure to share your links for everybody. Make sure to check it out with Dr. Tracy. We've also got the Reiki certification, which I'm going to share one more time for you guys, because that is one of the best things you could really do for yourself, is to learn how to do healing. Because Reiki is really, it's nice to heal other people, but it's predominantly for yourself.
And it's most importantly for yourself.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Tracy. I'm so glad we got over our hurdle. We almost thought we weren't going to have this chat today. So I'm so glad that it actually ended up working out.
Thank you for your patience.
Always a pleasure. It's so good to hang out with you. We love hanging out with you. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Tomorrow, there will be a free drop-in with Kim Beekman on Astara, but for today, it's going to be a quiet day. So I hope you all enjoy the sun. There's going to be a little bit here in Pennsylvania. I'm excited. I'm going to go for a nice walk. Try not to spend too much time watching TV today, guys. The news is not good for you. So stay out of that political funk. It'll make you feel better. Cool. Love you guys. See you all soon. Much love. Bye.